Be Woody the Wabbit. If you know what movie that's from, and you remember who said it, in regards to what, then you're dating yourself. It was from a movie called, pardon me, Meatballs with Bill Murray. And he was a camp counselor, and there was this young man that was smaller than everyone, you know, and the kind of kid that would get picked on, you know, at summer camp. And they had the end of the year race, pardon me, multitasking, end of the year race, and Bill Murray was like, be Woody the Wabbit, because it was kind of a steeplechase, kind of point to point, kind of a thing, and use your size to your advantage, being a small kid. Be Woody the Wabbit. And so they started the race, and Woody the Wabbit, the kid, he went off-road, so to speak. He went through the woods, through the brush, where he was able to best the bigger, stronger kids that were picking on him, and he won. What does that have to do with anything? Well, that reminds me, I was Woody the Wabbit. I was minding my own business. Riding up M119, the tunnel of trees, or the tree trail, or the tunnel of trails that people call it. It's really the tunnel of trees, Heritage Highway. 1.5 lanes wide. Doesn't even have a center line. You can't have a center line on a 1.5 lane road. So you have to be careful going both ways. Tight and twisty, hilly, horseshoe corners, wonderful motorcycle road. So there I was, innocently minding my business, going for a ride. And I get behind a fully patched 1% motorcycle group. These aren't accountants on the weekend. If I mention who they were, because I was able to read their patches, you would recognize the name. It's a real biker group. And they were going the speed limit or a little below. A whole bunch of them. When cars were coming in the other direction, they would get over to the right lane, let the cars go by, and then they would take up the entire road again, riding in formation. Here I am on my SR 500. Even though it's got a crappy suspension that I'm going to update, it's still fully capable, better than their motorcycles on this road. If I was on the highway, I would be completely insane to do what I did. But here, I know the road. I know seasonal roads that go off. I'd be okay, as long as my motorcycle doesn't break down, but it's reliable. And so after a while, it's like, God, I'm not going to do 30 miles an hour on a road that I have done 70 on before. Foolish, but can do that. And so after a while, it's like their road captain, the tail gunner, the guy in the back, was not signaling for the rest of them to get over to let this poor little Yamaha pass. So I did what a reasonable person did. I weaved through them, which is a total disrespect. It is. If you don't have any way of getting away from them, because you just declared war, you could wind up getting killed. And so I wove through them. They tried to catch me, but they couldn't. And again, seasonal roads and trails all the way along. I could have just, use the power of a 320-pound bike against the power of angry people riding 700-pound bikes. I got to thinking here, how well do I actually know all of my location? How well do you know your location? Could you be Woody the Wabbit? You use your street abilities to your advantage, and when that isn't an advantage, use your off-road abilities and your knowledge of that was like Christopher, what's his name? Use your knowledge of your terrain. Christopher Walken. Really, I would be at a loss, even though I've lived here forever, if I'm on the main road that way towards town, do I know, and I know this sounds crazy, how to get to another spot going through backyards, or going through the golf course, or whatever. It would behoove us all to know everything. Now, why? Does that sound paranoid? Does that sound stupid? Think about the last trip you took in your automobile. Referencing another movie, I think that was like 16 Candles or something. Dong, where's My automobile. Ah, big lake, splash. But you notice how, when you're on that last trip, how aggressive people are. I mean, people are freaking nuts. They've lost the plot. I mean, what do? You got tailgaters and people brake checking and people chasing people and getting out of their cars and trucks with baseball bats. I mean, geez, if you track the difference in society just from 2019 through 2020, 21, 22, everything is going that way, for reasons. And people are trying to fix this by doing the same thing. Definition of insanity. And so who knows? You may not be in an apocalypse. You may not have zombies chasing after you. But geez, the way things are going, you might just be going to the store and get some raging psychotic nut because their numbers are going up after you. And what are you going to do? You're in a car, you're somewhat limited. But again, motorcycle. Waiting for this to boil, then I'm going to start my stir fry. Budget minded. I can fill myself up with rice and then add a little stir fry for a little extra protein and stuff. What is the perfect survival motorcycle? I'm describing my build, but you know what? 1979. Wide World of Sports. You remember that? Again, if you remember Woody the Wabbit, you remember Wide World of Sports. I think Jim Gowdy was connected with that. But anyway, they were wondering, how can we create this race where we can have Roger DeCoster, motocross, and Kenny Roberts, road bike, race in the same race? And they were like, well, Roger DeCoster and Kenny Roberts are in different disciplines, road, motocross. So they created this thing called Super Bikers. And that was a combination of road racing and motocross. And that led to a thing called Supermoto. Yeah, Supermoto. I like that. My name from now on shall be Supermoto. And what they are is based off motocross bikes, because you get these light bikes, 280 pounds or something, lots of power, a lot of suspension. And basically what they did is they took the 21-inch wheels off of them, put 16-inch wheels. The devil, you say, put small wheels on a motocross bike? Well, they're not crossing streams. They're not going over logs. They're on motocross tracks where a small wheel will work. And the reason being is you put a tiny wheel, 16 inches is a tiny wheel, on a motocross bike, it lowers the front end and starts bringing it into road bike territory. Aha. And again, they're not going through mud. How often do we actually go through thick mud that we couldn't go around? And so they don't have knobbies. They actually have almost slicks, but those slicks, and I'm not saying put slicks on your evacuation motorcycle, your escape and evasion motorcycle, but you could certainly have a more roadish type tire on your motocross bike when you put that little 16-incher on. Anyway, things are starting to pop. Have a good one. Be Woody the Wabbit.